The other day I went to my piggy bank to get out some pennies, but there were none there. I said, that makes no sense. Hello, Mr. Taylor. I did plan on bringing the guitar tomorrow. So this way we still get to play. Andrew, hello. Andrew, where's your crown? Yeah, see, it was posted immediately after I called. Alright, doing the usual signing into everything. Gonna be similar this week to last week. Gonna start with a little practice. Then the bulk of the stream will be going through that Troy Stetina book. Finish with, I guess what we're calling it, Guitar Pro ASMR, where I input music and play along with it. I'm gonna have to grab a table when it's Troy Stetina time. Looks like I forgot to bring it in again. Alright, everything is signed in. Oh, well. Shit. Well, hot damn, look at that. And then hopefully tonight I'll finish enough stuff, or add enough text to the latest instruction course or shred guitar training program and get that up on Patreon tonight. I think there's enough material in it now that I can put it up. I just need to add a bit of instruction so people know what the heck to do with it. Metronome. Alright, so we got that. Guitar Pro's up. Alright, move that. Lord Potato. Compression time, small input change, there we go. I am very much out of practice. I barely did anything this week. Still trying to get a hang of the new schedule. So let's get warmed up by just running through the patterns. And then work this thing up. Whoop, not that. We're gonna do this. we're doing this today. Oof. All right. Now that the forearm is sufficiently beat up, here we go. All right, break number one. Break number one. It's a decent start. Start getting back to the right page here. Somebody requested I go through what was it, neoclassical picking strategy or something like that by Chris Brooks. Person said maybe you can go through that instead of this outdated book. I was like, goodness. Oh, that's right, the bend lick. Oof. And get the timing of that. All right. Jeff World, hello, sir. How are things in Texas? Damn. I might be at my limit today. Alright, that sounded good. I'll call it there. Not bad. Not bad. $192. Okay. Just take a note of where I got. 192. And let's finish off with just running through the whole pattern. Just drill the crap out of it once more, whatever pace feels right. Same thing, isn't it? Damn. That burns. Whew, That's a workout. Okay, I'm gonna get set up for the next thing. Put that back up. I need to just make different settings for when I switch over to this thing. Whatever, this will work for now. I guess we're not going to find out how things are in Texas. Andrew, how are things in Colorado? Do that. Da-da-da. All right, I'm gonna grab the table so I can set the book down and see it more easily. Be right back. They're hot. 87 here today. How hot is it there? So the heat in Colorado is quite different than the heat in California. Yeah, I definitely prefer California winters to the Colorado ones. Snow was nice for a little bit, but God, I just didn't have a proper vehicle for it. I just got tired of it. Especially when I was living in Cheyenne. It wouldn't have been so bad if the place we were living had decent heat. That was ridiculous. All right. So, continuing on with this book. Change this up a bit. Because I want to practice it with more dry sound. I'm less lazy today, so I'll switch this back to what I need it to be. Where the hell is there it is? 96. Okay, it's the same as the metronome right now. Yeah, that's pretty damn hot. You don't like Cheyenne? I would definitely live there again. Absolutely would. There's hardly anybody. It's great. Okay, I think we're set up for this part, so let's continue. All right, so day 2 of going through Speed Mechanics for lead guitar by Troy Stetina. And so we're going to pick up from where we left off last time. And I'll continue reading through things, most of it. Won't be showing what's in the book because, well, copyright stuff. Being rude. Don't want to give too much away. But anyway, so the next thing here, there's a lick that did not get to last time, but we'll be working on this today. So I'm going to be starting off with that. I will not be using the same fingering as his, though, because, yeah, it's interesting. Interesting how he would use a certain set of fingers for one lick that's very similar and then change the fingering for this one. Yeah, I don't like doing stuff like that. Anyway, I'm ignoring the fingering. I gotta learn this thing here. So, it is a bunch of 16th note triplets. So, I'm going to be playing it as 8th note triplets so I can ease into the whole thing. Some bends here at the beginning, so that's going to actually be like on the 1, 2, And that holds out for an extra beat. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, and I wonder if I even need to worry about the bend part first. I should probably leave out the bend section first. And just focus on the legato part. Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Wyoming in general. Seen too much weird things go down in Rock Springs. I didn't go through much of Wyoming out when I lived there. I don't think I went through Rock Springs. I don't know. I don't remember what we went through. Obviously Cheyenne, and then taking I-80 all the way to California. But I don't remember what cities we went through. Although I did get some really weird looks when I was when I first moved out there. And then it was really weird, like the next door neighbor, he was wearing a death shirt one day. We just kind of looked at each other because, like, I think I had a decapitated shirt. And we're just like, you know, like, fuck, right on. So that was unexpected. Surrounded by a bunch of cowboys, and the person living next to me was also a metalhead. The metalheads there are very, they let you know. Because it seems like they're really happy to meet another person who listens to the same stuff. Alright, anyway, so let's get into this lick here. Let me play through it without mentioning them first so I can get a feel for it. That's right, so this is one of those hammer on from nothing situations where you don't hammer on, or you don't pick when you go to a lower string. So 1, 2, 3, 1. Oh, that's why. You fool. Hey, I might need to do eighth notes instead. Wow, okay. Nope. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. I'm going to have to break it down into even smaller pieces then, because that's weird. Alright. So, I'm obviously still not showing things on the screen, so you can't see exactly what I'm going to be working on. So for those of you who have the book, this is example 17. Example 17. And I'm going to be breaking it down quite a bit because it's too unfamiliar of a pattern. And I suck at it right now, so I need to make it more accessible. Okay. Let's get started. I'll tend to the comments after we get going here, so people who watch the archived thing are not wondering why the hell I'm not playing. Anyway, here we go. But I will respond to comments after we're done working on this part. So let's see. We got. All right, I'm just going to work that up first. Nope, don't pick that. I can see how a beginner would get very frustrated with this because it's going to be pretty advanced for a lot of people. there's not really a good workup into this level of difficulty. I don't think. Whoops, I went too far. Nope, don't pick yet. Now, normally I'd work this up as fast as I can before changing to a different subdivision and adding more. However, for the sake of the stream and the video that will be made after the stream is done, I'm just going to jump ahead here. So, no, I'm not following my own advice I give to people, but we're in a time crunch and it doesn't need to be super fast. So, anyway, here we go. Next piece going... Right, so good Lord. Wrong. Wrong. Can't pick there. Alright, so there's that chunk. Next we have... transition to that, because you go from 16th note triplets into a regular old 16th note, and it just kind of holds. Doesn't really matter. And okay, well that's not hard. That part I can do. Okay, let's try and put all that together then. Nope. No. Still in the habit of picking more often than what's written down here. Nope. Oh boy. Wrong. Damn it. Oh, the non-picking. All right, I'm going to try doing triplets now. That's right. Oh, Lord. like you said, one of the hardest parts about this is not picking to follow how this is notated. Nope. Well, this is taking quite a while. This needs more practice. I could get a bit more out of it, but yeah, that is a challenging lick. So for anyone who has experienced difficulties with this stuff, I'm not surprised. Because that lick, man, that is way more challenging than the previous one. Example number 16, we finished with that in the previous stream, and that didn't go too bad. I actually got that one up, I think, kind of fast. But this one, man, that's a pain in the ass. So the difficulty level there, to me, just skyrocketed for sure. Alright, I'm going to read through the YouTube comments, respond, and then we're going to get to the next section of the book. Andrew says, I've had to sample monitoring wells in Rock Springs that the homeless enjoyed using as toilets. That's always fun. That's fantastic. Jesus. I guess I could look it up. Where about is Rock Springs compared to Cheyenne? Cheyenne's where we lived. And F-World says, losing fat and mass, finally, very good. Increase the cardio and HIIT training, better sleep schedule, very good. No snacking, definitely important. No late night eating dinner. Of course, high protein, too, to keep up the gains, always good. John, would I be a vampire or a tengu? Japanese bird-like divine warrior yokai. I have no idea. I don't know how to answer that one. Which one would you be? And how is Texas? That is an unanswered question. Okay. Next part of the book, we have string bending exercises. For the lead guitarist, bending and vibrato are some of the most important skills to master. In the exercises below, play the first note, then bend up to the pitch shown. I've given students this sort of thing before. After you have reached the correct pitch, add vibrato. Vibrato is a series of short bends and releases centered on a particular pitch. After you have bent the string to the right pitch, release the bend slightly and then bend back to the right pitch again and again. To achieve a smooth vibrato, practice it slowly at first, as on the cassette, which we will not be listening to. For bending, use the position with your thumb on the top of the neck, shown in an earlier thing. And they even have suggested fingerings for the bends. I typically just use 3 fingers whenever possible, which is usually a lot. Mark Taylor would be Gamera. That's a good response. Rock Springs is far western Wyoming. Had your fun share of Cheyenne, too. I didn't really see much homeless stuff in Cheyenne. Denver, there's certainly quite a bit. But nothing compared to California. Good God. You want to see homeless? Well, we got you homeless. Oh, hey, it's Jessica on Twitch. Hello. Deaf World, have you looked up Gamera? Alright, so, yeah. Yeah, it's tough to teach vibrato. I had one person actually comment on a Patreon lesson. He was already signed up for Patreon, and he hated my vibrato so much that he left a comment about how shit it is and left. So yeah, apparently I have shit vibrato. Damn it. And he's recommending the 2 fingers here. Went too far. And then it says etc. So what the heck? What's etc.? You're just supposed to... Well, I guess kind of just following down that A minor scale there. Because yeah, he hits this note. Woo! Alright, next I got E minor pentatonic stuff. Oof. Step and a half. I always worry about doing step and a half because I don't want to break strings. Got some blues stuff. 1.5 from there? Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's not something I would normally do. Whew, that's a bitch of a bend. I do not like that. I'd rather play it down here. Anyway, so yeah, I just got more examples like that here with some different scale stuff. I think teaching bends is a pretty difficult thing because it's like a technique. You really need to rely on your ear. There's a lot of stuff that happens when bending strings that you gotta mute all the other strings and make sure that you don't have a bunch of crap ringing out, you don't catch the other strings as you do the bend release, things like that. Vibrato, that's pretty tough to teach too because it's like one of those techniques you just have to try over and over and over again, and you kind of get a hang of it, get a feel for it. Some people, like I can't do that whole B.B. King thing where you like somehow move the string up, down, moving it like that. I'll do like some finger bends like that, this way. Although sometimes I try to do that every now and then, the whole move the arm like that, but that just never worked. High E string, I'll do like it's kind of back and forth thing and get some vibrato that way. You can do like some upward bends for it though. Anyway, moving on. Next part says rolling to change strings. Often, riffs may use 2 notes that lie on the same fret, but are on adjacent strings. To play this without letting the notes ring together, as in a chord, you must roll your finger over to the new string and off of the previous string without lifting it off the fretboard. Lifting your finger off the fretboard to change strings will put a short rest between notes, not allowing them to sound fluent and connected. Play the first note with your fingertip, then, without lifting pressure off the fretboard, roll onto the third string. Your first finger should be then, whoops, I screwed that sentence up. Your first finger should then be holding the fourth string muted, pressing down only on the third string. Roll with each finger the same way. So, yeah, rolling, good technique to learn. I try and just use my index finger as much as possible. I hate rolling with the pinky. Some more chromatic stuff. And then, what do we got here? An asterisk marks each place to use the technique in the following riffs. Holy shit. Yeah, he calls these riffs, typically this is what someone's going to call a lick, I would say. Well, let's try some of these rollin' riffs. Alright, so we got, let's see, with the, oh, I see what he means. I see. Nope. With a bar, oh, it's a whammy bar. Is a whammy bar thing in here? We hasn't introduced anything with the whammy bar yet. That's I take, I don't want to say this without sounding like a jerk. I guess too late. I have concerns with that because it's like, why introduce a technique that has not been used yet or even discussed, like all of a sudden? I think the whammy bar thing should have been left out because also, what if you don't have a whammy bar? I clearly don't on this. So yeah, maybe like have a non-whammy bar version at least. I think that would be good. But anyway, you're gonna get the non-whammy bar version. So this one's going up. The riff. Here's the next one. Let's see. We got. Oh, he's alternate picking that, huh? And we got a string skip already. So there's a jump in difficulty right there. A lot of people struggle with string skipping. I mean, I guess you put it in somewhere, but that's as complicated as this riff is. I feel like that's a big jump. Like things are missing to help people progress in a more structured manner, more structured way. But of course, like I mentioned in the previous stream, how I mean, there's only so much you can put in a book like this. I mean, if you covered things the way I'm doing or trying to do, this thing would be freaking massive, and it might be overwhelming for people. But at the same time, as one person commented on the previous video for day one, he said that when he tried going through this book the first time, he got so frustrated with it he just gave up on the book. So yeah, there's benefit to having more steps into the different kind of things here. So I think something's missing going into that, and this is extra example 23 here. But anyway, yeah, some progress up into string skipping I feel would be helpful for a lot of people. Alright, Alright, let's try working that one up. That's kind of complicated. Sounds interesting. Should I do 16th notes or 8th notes, though? Let me see. Probably should do 8th notes first, because it's too new a pattern. I'll try doing the alternate picking as he suggests. Man. Wait a minute. That's right. You know, I'm just going to pick it how I want to because, yeah, that's what my brain's telling me to do, so fuck it. Normally I wouldn't do this, but for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and drop it back down to 16 and do the 16th note version instead. If I was trying to get the most out of this, I would absolutely work it up as fast as I can with the 8th notes before switching over to 16ths, as I recommend my students do. Now, sorry, I feel like I got something in my freaking eyeball here. Ugh. The sunscreen. Anyway. Woo! Alright, see if I can at least get to the 120. Alternate picking does work really well for that. I prefer the sweep that I'm doing at the very end, though. Alright, 120. Fudge. Whew. Yeah, that could be better. Come on, come on, come on. Good enough for what we're doing. Alright, next thing we have some... Boy, we got an odd rhythm here. So I mean, I know he does cover rhythm for part 2 of this book. Man, if you don't know how to count this stuff, I can see that being a big pain in the butt. And I know you got the audio to reference for being able to do this. I have no idea if he does it like slow to explain what's going on first or what. But let's see what we got going on here. That's a 0. So interesting that he picks that, although he had all that stuff about not picking and just doing a hammer-on from nothing when going to a lower string. I don't know why he chose that. It feels slightly inconsistent, but maybe, I don't know, maybe he was teaching the hammer-on from nothing while descending strings is just so you have an option. Alright, well, because this is how I would normally want to play it. I'd want to pick that string. Good Lord. Holy moly. Jesus. Difficulty spike. I suppose this is close to the difficulty as that previous lick I was having trouble with. But yeah, again, I can see why people would struggle with this. This is definitely not a beginner's kind of thing. This is going to push you for sure. Man. No. Holy moly. Well, shall we work this one up? Why not? So yeah, it is a mix of, well, the beginning here you have 16th notes, a quick 32nd note part, and then we have the rhythm I like to call the drunken gallop. But because this is so new, I'm going to be playing at half speed. So every 16th note will be an 8th note, every 32nd note will be a 16th note. And then we get that bend part there, which after I bend up on that will carry for a quarter note. And then I'm going to play these 16th note triplets as 8th note triplets to make it easier to learn, which I feel would make a great thing to add to this. So remember, when you're working on something that's giving you a lot of trouble, or if you want to work on something that's fast, but it's a brand new pattern, and your fingers and brain are just like, what the heck is this? Really helpful to basically cut the time in half. Or would that be double the time? I guess it depends on how you look at it. So basically, if you're trying to work up like 6 notes per beat, something like that, probably a better idea, if it's a brand new thing, work up 3 notes per beat instead of 6, because that can help immensely. So we're going to try that. How long have I been streaming? A little more than an hour. It's almost time for the first bathroom break. Exciting! All right, I'm going to try the whole thing here. Holy crap. Fuck. That way I can try to get a pinch at the end there. Andrew, quick pause here. Andrew on YouTube asks, or says, curious as to what your overall thoughts are so far. Do you see the book being beneficial? Thoughts so far, I mean, he has said some stuff that I really like, really appreciate, like the whole, yes, start off slow, make sure you play it with perfection. Don't increase speed until you're playing it correctly. There's no mention of how to use a metronome to go faster and faster. It just seems like it's just play this stuff and make it sound correct. And there's definitely benefit to doing that. I do feel that this metronome method will speed up the process in getting these things down. Because you start off at a speed you can definitely handle, and then make it faster, 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 so you're able to get it into the brain faster. Beneficial, yes, but for an inexperienced player, I feel like, as I mentioned today, there are steps that are potentially missing that could lead to frustration. Because there's definitely some pretty difficult stuff in here already, and it's at the beginning of the book. So I don't feel like it's really set up for, you know, taking someone who's a beginner all the way through advanced kind of stages, which is fairly typical of these kinds of instruction books. And then you say, Andrew says, seems like it could be just as beneficial to learn solos and songs you like. Quite, yes. With these things, if you're trying to learn a very specific thing, like the exercise focus can be helpful because maybe the song or the solo wouldn't address the specific thing you want to work on. So I guess it really depends on what you're trying to improve at. So like if you want to, like this having the rolling stuff, you know, if you want to work on a rolling thing, you could try and find solos or songs that use that, or just right there. But yeah, I mean that's, you know, what exercises are. It's basically like, you know, all kinds of different riffs and licks that could absolutely be part of a song. So you could do the song approach, but that's also why I don't do the song teaching, because I want to have it progress. You know, want to make sure, like, can you play this thing? All right, now we're going to try something a little more difficult. We're going to try something a little more difficult. And then, well, as you've experienced, you know, you and I working together, when a point is reached where the difficulty is like, then we address the difficulty and do things to make it better or make it easier. So, yeah, it's just more steps could definitely help people address the difficulty on this, and explanation as to how to make things easier to tackle. But hey, that's one thing I try and specialize in, helping people break things down to make it easier. Let's try the speed again. God damn it. Oh man. Wait, what? I don't think I'm doing that right. Fuck. I need to just work on that part. Go back down. There we go. Jesus. That's good enough. Let's move on. Ooh, the right hand. All right, here's where we have the first bathroom break. And then we'll continue on. Yeah. Hold on. Where the hell is that thing? Nope. Man, where the heck did it go? There. Be right back. All right. We're getting back into it. Andrew, I still gotta fix the multi-chat things. It was actually showing on the stream the whole time. So this way, when people look at the archive thing, they see the chat. Anyway, there we go. Andrew on YouTube says, how would you recommend approaching the exercise in the book? Or the exercises, all of them. Okay. That is one thing I like about your teaching. There is a process and as to how to approach it and get to an end goal. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And it really depends on the exercise. Let me read that comment too. Continuing, these kind of books are very open as to when it is okay to move on. I'm one of those people that need a goal to obtain to know when I have reached the point that moving on onto the next thing is okay. So, a big thing, the way I like to put it is if, God, how do I want to say it? Let me take a second and try and think. So let's say, like the one I was working on just there. Or like he got these 3 finger roll licks that he has in a row here. And I would agree that it does go up in difficulty. The first one's the easiest, the last one's the most difficult. So, like if your goal is to just make it sound good, You can just make it sound good a few times and then move on. If you like it, certainly play it more. There's no tempo marked on any of this, so without me listening to the recordings, I have no idea how fast it's supposed to be. So one thing you could do is, if you could try getting it to the speed that's demonstrated, or that's listed, if it does list it. In this case, it doesn't. But if you're like stuck on the same speed for 3 days in a row, I say it's worth moving on to the next thing. And that's usually it. If you're stuck at the same speed for 3 days, move on to the next one. And if you get up to a goal speed right away, just move on to the next one there too. Because like all that chromatic stuff at the beginning, like I'd imagine that's gonna drive people crazy. And also, I just don't think the chromatic stuff is really necessary for a lot of people. But we talked about that last time. There are some benefits to it, but I feel like that's a person to person kind of case. So I think a lot of it has to do with, what are your goals with it? Because the book is supposed to be about teaching you speed mechanics, and there is a lot of stuff where it's like, here's a technique, and now here's some stuff you can use that technique in. I hope that's a good enough response. But I think that's the summary there. Stuck on the same speed for a few days, move on. If you have reached the goal speed, you can move on. I think those are two good ways to know when it's all right to move on. So, I'll read a little more here. Then I want to switch over to inputting some tab, just like last time. So, the right hand, unless you're left-handed, or play left-handed. Alternate picking. Alternating versus sweep picking. There are basically two different approaches to picking. One approach is consistent alternating picking. The other is sweep picking, also called speed picking or slip picking. I have never heard of slip picking. I've never heard it be called that. I've heard it be called sweep picking and economy picking. And I also never call it alternating picking. I always call it alternate picking. So look at that. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Boom. Hell yeah. Continuing. It is good to learn alternating picking first because it develops a good sense of rhythm. The regular picking motion helps you acquire an evenness of timing that is absolutely essential. Yeah, you do need to have good timing to play well. I agree there, for sure. Since each note has its own distinct pick, alternate picking also helps you develop a clearer, more articulated sound. A further benefit of developing good alternate picking technique is that with it, you can play any sequence of notes without having to figure out a picking system for it beforehand. I wonder how the Troy Grady crew would feel about that. You will be more free when improvising since you won't have to limit yourself to prearranged patterns. You will be able to create and play new ideas without having to practice that sequence specifically. When your picking requires no thought to execute, all you have to think about is the music. The benefit of sweep picking lies in its economy of movement. The less you have to move to do something, the faster you can do it. It depends. For me, it depends on what it is. With sweep picking, you can do things that are impossible with alternate picking. That is true. This becomes very apparent when several strings are crossed with one note played per string. Yes, so it's really like it depends on the circumstance, what it is you're trying to play. But the idea of the less you can move, the faster you can do it. One issue I've seen with that idea, or with that thought process, is I've had students try and pick so small, and they try and move so little, that they basically don't move at all. They're just so restricted, they don't even move. So sometimes you just got to pick a lot bigger, wider than you might think, and just get really mean and aggressive with it. And then you can actually go faster. So simply trying to move as small as you can doesn't always produce the fastest results. Let's see. Because these two picking formats contradict each other in terms of whether a certain note should be played down or up, don't attempt to develop both of these techniques at the same time on the same lick. Practice improves a skill by repetition. Giving mixed signals as to what habit you are trying to develop will just confuse your picking hand. I agree. In this section, all of the cross-string motions arising in alternate picking are isolated and practiced individually. Also, the next two sections deal exclusively with alternate picking. Then, when you have alternate picking down reasonably well, sweep picking is covered in detail. Picking position. Nearly every guitarist holds the pick slightly different. Open fingers, closed fingers, pick held between the thumb and first finger, or second, or both. It doesn't really matter. If you have already developed a certain picking position, it's probably all right. Use what works for you. However, the angle that you hold your pick to the strings is important. If the pick leans too far either way, to top of the pick toward the ceiling or the floor, it will put one motion of crossing the strings at an advantage and the opposite motion at a disadvantage. For alternate picking, keep the pick almost perpendicular to the strings. Play in front of a mirror to see how your pick looks from the angle shown in the photo below. So that's interesting. I used to, think that's what I was doing when I was picking, is just basically moving up and down in a straight line. And that is a benefit that has come about from Troy Grady in his reporting about, basically you either pick down and away from the strings or up and away from the strings. So Troy Grady versus Troy Stetina. So Troy Stetina is saying how, if you have the pick angled one way, it could be problematic for certain string escape motions, versus this way, that could be problematic for certain string escape motions. But, either way, it's going to be changing. So I do like the idea of, kind of keeping it fairly parallel, although I tend to favor tilting the pick this way a bit for the super fast stuff. But, really, again, depends on what's being played. Anyway, continue on. Picking motion. For really fast picking, wrist movement is probably best. Some combinations of wrist and elbow movement can work also. I recommend avoiding finger-thumb movement. Depends on how you use it. If you still have some doubts about your picking motion, check out a few videos of guitarists whose techniques you admire and copy their picking positions. What if they happen to use the thumb and finger picking? Continuing, whatever picking motion you use, it should be small and precise movements. Remember that distance equals time. And remember that if you try and pick too small, it could lead to no picking, and it can actually slow you down. So my thing is, if it sounds good, doesn't matter. That's it. It's just make it sound good. That's the most important thing. Make it sound good. And I do agree that, yes, every guitar player is going to hold the pick a little bit different. Depending on, with the idea of holding it between your thumb and your middle finger, or holding it like this, if it works for you, it works for you, for sure. Can't think of any specific problems that may come from it, but who knows? Maybe I'll find one someday. Maybe I never will. I don't know. But I wouldn't worry too much about when people say you have to hold a pick a specific way, because it's going to look a little different for everybody. That is true. There's certainly some ways of holding a pick that would not work very well. You don't want too much sticking out. You want to still have a firm grip on the pick. But anyway, let's continue on here before we run out of time. Single string picking. With your right hand, the first step is alternating on a single string. Play the downbeat with a downstroke. This can be reversed, but downstrokes are naturally easiest to accent with gravity, which gives your playing an easier rhythmic flow. After you have memorized each exercise, practice with the metronome. Ooh. Begin at about 80 beats per minute. I have said that once many years ago, but now I'm a big believer starting at 60. Start at 60, goddammit. Move the metronome up 2 units at a time until you reach a comfortable speed. Alright, so yeah, just basically 2 units. It depends on what kind of metronome you have. That's not necessarily 2 beats per minute. Because you might have an old analog metronome where, you just turn the dial and that's going up different beats per minute depending on where you're at on the dial. As my old guitar teacher said, just basically go up 1 or 2 clicks on the metronome because I had a predetermined beats per minute on the thing. But now, I always recommend no more than 5 beat per minute increments. Because if you go up faster than that, you're probably jumping up too fast, and then you don't get as much out of the exercise or what it is you're trying to practice. But anyway, when you reach your top speed, slow down 20 beats per minute or so and repeat step 3. What is step 3? Is this supposed to be step 1, 2, and 3? Oh, okay, I skipped stuff. I'm going to read all this again. Begin at about 80 beats per minute. Move the metronome up 2 units at a time until you reach a comfortable speed. Push yourself 2 units faster, then slow back down 1 over and over. Interesting. So he's saying go up 2, down 1, up 2, down 1. And then he says, when you reach top speed, slow down 20 beats per minute or so, and repeat step 3. Well, that's an interesting way of doing it. It can certainly work. I've never tried that. If you find that you have trouble playing in time with the metronome, yet can play much faster without it, you have developed speed but lack rhythmic control. There's a lot of people who do that. Andrew says, gotta run. Look forward to catching up on the rest later. Thanks. Thank you, Andrew. We'll talk to you soon. Continuing here. Say, when playing moderately fast, 16th notes at 80 to 120 beats per minute or so, you can get away with extra movement of the pick. When you reach about 144 beats per minute or higher, however, there is no time for wasted movement. Because of this, when you are playing slowly, concentrate on making the picking motions as small as possible. Again, I just don't agree with that. Eliminating any extra movement of the pick. Because again, if you try and pick so small and I don't think that's where it needs to be focused. Focus on making it sound good. I could be wrong, but it seems to work well for me. And at least for some students, when they focus on making it sound right, it's just focus on making it sound good. That's the most important thing. You worry about trying to decrease the picking motion too much, then I don't think it's focusing on the correct thing. It says your pick should move up and down only without any motion away from the string. If you have made a habit of too much movement in the picking, you might try skipping or If you have made a habit of moving too much movement in the picking, you might try skipping right up to somewhere around 144 beats per minute. This can force your pick to get in the habit of making smaller movements. Then work back down, concentrating on maintaining the smaller picking movement. Exercise 25 uses open strings, as in riffs by Iron Maiden and Gary Moore. Concentrate on making only small up and down movements with pick. Follow the instructions above for using a metronome. So, and basically he's just got this. No, we didn't go back up to that. would like to see this end with a note on the downbeat because it's easier to practice stuff like this when you end on a down stroke. A lot of zeros at the end there. Nope. Man, it's like I instinctively want to go back up. Yeah, I mean, it works fine. I don't know. I don't know really what to add to that one there. I'd like something a bit easier for people to follow in terms of, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going to the open string thing. I would prefer something more like, I don't know, just easier to play in terms of, like, how the music goes. No. Like something like that. Anyway. And then, yeah, repeat on strings 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then, oh boy, exercise 26 uses a chromatic sequence. Chromatic means using every half step rather than following a diatonic 7-tone scale. So, yeah, that's a... Wait. And then he switches it. Well, he might continue on with this next time. There's a lot of stuff in here going through. Yeah. Okay. And I'll have more thoughts to share on how I feel about the way this is structured at this point. Because, yeah, all right, there you go. That concludes the day 2 of going through Speed Mechanics for lead guitar. Tristan, hello. You're just in time for the ASMR section. Ooh, man. It's almost 5 o'clock here. Gotta make sure I do some clean something up before Anna gets home. Alright. See how much I can get done here. I won't bother switching guitars this time. So, let's see. Back to getting set up. Boom, boom. That's not right. Hey, what the heck happened? Okay. There it is. All right. Okay. Oh, man. Let's see where we got to here. Yep, that's the next bit. One, two, three, four. One, two, and three, four. Oh God, I put that in the wrong place. You fool. Good old MIDI slides. Ugh. Alright, next piece. Thought I got the rhythm basically written out already. Well, I don't know. Do need the whammy bar to play this part properly, but it still works without it. A grace note sliding up to here. Oh, so that always did. okay, okay. To that, to this. And then that slides right back down to that. Okay, that needs to be this. How? Alright, I never use whammy bar stuff in here. So you just want to hit it. Just a little dip. Just a quick little dip. Left hand vibrato, vibrato with trim. No, it's not vibrato. Huh. I have no idea how to do any kind of notation for the whammy bar on this. I might have to look up. I'm gonna have to look that up because I have no. Oh wait. Tremolo bar. Okay, there it is. And it's just a quick little blip. Doo-doo. Come on. What that sounds like. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, interesting. All right. So this is basically copy and paste, but then I play that at a higher octave. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Ooh, I just realized I never turned that off. And 1, 2. All right. interesting. No, that's what we play. Why does that sound like a note doesn't fit? Huh. Oh, that's a 14. Not, all right. Because that's not what we played. That's not what I played. I wrote it wrong. That's okay. There we go. That's it. Alright, so then that part is done again. Just this. And then it's almost okay. It starts the same. I see. Okay, and then all that is just copied and pasted. Right? I think so. Alright, check it out from here. Oh god, fuck that up so bad. Woo! Dum 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 dum. Alright, and then next new part to input, and then I can just copy and paste the rest. Wait, we got it here. Shit. Stop it. And then that's a slide to that. Hammer back on. Okay. There we go. How do I do? Yes. Okay. I think that's everything. Turn this up a little bit though. Alright, let's give this a shot. Let's make sure everything sounds alright, and then it'll be time to end the stream. Wait a minute. I thought I changed the view. Oh, no I didn't. Ugh, okay. System layout, all bar, yep, there we go. And that should work. Boom, boom, save. Oh, fuck! Oh, God. I need to practice. All right, well, definitely need to practice that. It's pretty new, though. All right, that is the end of the stream. Thank you to everyone who came on, participated, checks out the archived one. We're streaming again next week. At least that's the plan. All right.